I would like to say Sauce Walka, one of the most influential rappers of the last decade or so. He is here, the H-Town legend.
Ooh. I appreciate those flowers. Those are very truthful words. You know what I'm saying? That's a different side of the truth that some people don't want to, reciprocate or acknowledge. How many huge stars that have basically built their whole makeup off of the Sauce Walka legacy and my style and my indifference and
your slang,
all that
your
shit.
fashion.
It'd be funny sometimes because I hear some people say it'd be funny I hear the fans of the comments, they be like, you look like an older version of so-and-so. And it'd be funny, they just don't know that they really looking at this artist re-emulating me. You know what I'm saying? You mean that they look like a younger version of me, is what you're trying to say. But,
yeah, because you've been doing this shit for, years at this point. I think I just told you, I think the first time we worked, I DJ'd for you at a show randomly, was maybe 10 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I officially been a successful superstar artist for 10 years. I've been rapping. The TSF thing started in 2013. I blew up 2014. It's 2024 right now. So
yeah,
that's a full decade, on paper. But the battle and the fight for success has been a lifelong journey.
Yeah, because I think about so many people have came to Houston and gotten. And there's guys like Drake who've given back to Houston a lot and made it a point to go out of his way to kind of still be there for Houston, show up, do events, and But I just feel like Houston is one of them markets that's kind of like the Bay Area in California, where so many people have taken from it, but for whatever reason the credit is never really necessarily attributed to it as much as it should be.
I feel that it's a 50-50 stake in responsibility for that truth, which that is 100% the truth. The legacy and the lineage of Houston has been appropriated and recycled without Houston getting the recognition and the flowers or the opportunities that comes from the ideas and the culture and the essence of Houston. But I blame 50% of the responsibility of that on the industry. I blame the other 50% on the city of Houston, Texas, because we have become more of a consumer's market than a seller's market. And that's not the origin of Texas sound. Not even just Houston, Texas as a whole. We're known for being independent artists, wholesalers of music.
Coming by these CDs out the trunk.
Coming by these CDs out the trunk. You know what I'm saying?
Self-distributed.
Selling it.
Rap-A-Lot Records. What are we talking about?
Rap-A-Lot Records, Asylum Records, Screwed Up Click Records, Swisher House, Suave House.
Yeah. Shout out to Tony Draper.
It goes on and on. Dope House. It goes on and on. All of these are independent multi-millionaire record labels and distributions. South distributions. I can just keep going on. It's so many different pillars in the state of Texas that have been, even DSR in Dallas, not to just cut them out.
The DSR, remember DSR?
Right, so it's so many different Texas pillars who have been independent and made millions and millions of dollars, nothing less than high six figures a year off of being independent and representing, being engulfed and overly loving and appreciating our sound. The internet kind of fucked that up. The internet broke that up. People from the Bay will never get out of enjoying and representing the cultures and the fruits of Bay Area ways, the hairstyles, having a ducktail or right. the long dread, something like that. If one part of the Bay, if we doing this in Sac, then we're gonna do this in Vallejo. If we doing this Vallejo, then we're gonna do this in Oakland.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus to where in Texas is and before I get further to that point, when these hairstyles or these lingos, way of talking, way of dressing, whatever that y'all do that's Bay Area shit, when it hits the internet and the internet doesn't necessarily agree with it or feel like that's cool, they was that shit look weird, that shit lame, that shit woo, then the Bay Area is not gonna not continue to act the way that they act because it doesn't fit in with y'all. It doesn't fit in with the way people dressing in New Orleans or the way people dressing in New York with the drill scene. The Bay doesn't give a fuck about that. Right. The Bay is gonna be the Bay. If we thizzin', we thizzin'. If we, you know what I'm saying, whatever we own, pimping, whatever style of music that we own, they own it. Versus to where it's in Texas, like you have a large amount of our community that wants to fit in with what they see on the internet more or less than continue to create and be indifferent on the internet
and own
your identity. Like when you go to Florida, they own their identity. The gold teeth, the dunk cars,
right.
the style of dressing, the wick hairstyles, the Haitian culture. Like all of this shit is things that empowers their culture, it empowers their music, it empowers their economy as well, because there's certain essence and things that you have to go to their market to buy if you want it done correctly. So it's like with Houston, if you want a correct iced out grill permanent in your mouth, you're gonna come to Houston.
Yep.
If you a rap artist and you want your teeth to look, if you want to compete with the teeth that's going around in the world and the jury that's going around the world and not look like you spent less money or got some bullshit, then you're gonna go to Texas and you're gonna go to the right people that's the best at doing it. Plug Geo, Johnny Dane.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's when it comes to the essence of music and screwed and chopped culture or dressing a certain way that represents
even the cars.
The cars. I was like, even we think about that in the last decade, Sauce Walka is the only Houston, Texas rapper that has swankers on his car and vocalizing and publicizing to the world. I'm the only nigga that did that.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting to think.
That's
like,
weird.
Because when I was like, obviously, shout to Paul Wall and all those guys. Like that was like the first time I ever saw those fucking rims.
Yeah. And salute to Paul Wall. Like the legends, our legends.
Mike Jones, Slim Thug.
All our legends, they keep the fruits of our culture. You know what I'm saying? Dump like in people's face permanent. They keep it like existing. They keep it like, you know what I'm saying, to the forefront. We talking about the younger generation. The younger generation and the current generation is who plants the seeds to the future.
Right.
So if the people that's between the ages of 35 to 25 is not doing it, then that means that the people that's from the ages from 25 to 15 are not going to want to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because between 15 and 25, these are the young adults who are on the TikTok, who own all the social media platforms. They playing sports. They still in high school. They still in middle school. So whatever information that they downloading into their brain that represents their city and their culture, they going on the internet and making it a thriving force. That's why the drill scene has lasted so long, because it's not about the rappers just running around shooting each other and dancing and fighting and
right.
representing the hoods. It's about these children that we see on the internet constantly programming our brains with these dances, constantly programming our brains with these skits and these TikToks, and then it goes global. Now we got people way in the UK making drill music and drill dances and altering what's the biggest wave of style in
right.
New York. So therefore, you don't see how that creates money, and it creates wealth, and it creates an identity, and it creates a respect factor in the music industry, where the companies and the powers that be, when they want to utilize that sound in a commercial because it's going to bring sales, it's going to bring engagement, if they want to utilize the settings or one of the stadiums in your city, they still have to incorporate the music scene and the culture that's in that city within those events. Houston missed out on that for a 10-year span, while we were still having like huge events happening in the city. We had Super Bowls, we had All-Star games, we've had NCAA tournaments, Final Fours. We've had all of these different things and go on in the state of Texas, along with our annual stuff like the
rodeo,
Texas Rodeo Lifestyle. Exactly. See, you know about this type of shit, but none of the 10, 15 young dominant artists from the state of Texas are ever involved in these things.